You don't have to work in luxury to recognize its world. On social media, in magazines, and on billboards, you'll see handbags, hotels, and vehicles, all perfectly lit, perfectly styled, and perfectly edited. But there's a secret with luxury brands that we don't always say out loud. And that is that the products are, well, not that different. One beautiful bag, another beautiful bag. A 5-star hotel, another 5-star hotel. A sleek car, another sleek car. All with amazing campaigns, perfect photos, and polished copy. And yet, when you ask people what they actually remember, they rarely describe just the product. They describe how it felt to walk into the boutique, to be welcomed at the hotel, or to sit in the driver's seat for the very first time. So what truly sets a luxury brand apart isn't just the physical product. It's the experience wrapped around it. That very same thing is true for us as people. Often others see the work we produce, the posts we share, or even the way we organize our homes. Where on the surface, everything looks great. But that doesn't always translate to connection or trust, or simply being remembered. Because just like those brands, we aren't only what we portray, produce, or put out into the world. We are also the experience others have in our presence. It's the energy we bring, the way we welcome, and the way we follow up. The experience of you is how it feels to work with you on a project, to chat with you at school pickup, or to walk into a room that you've had a hand in shaping. And long after people forget the email you sent or the slide you shared, they will remember how it felt to be in your orbit. Today, we live and work in a digital-first world, where more and more of what we do is supported by technology. We rely on AI and digital tools to help us write, plan, and stay organized. And that can be incredibly helpful. But without meaning to, we begin planning our days and often our careers and our companies around tasks that technology can increasingly do for us. So we become super efficient, but strangely forgettable. Years into working in the luxury sector, I got myself into the marketing department of a prominent brand, helping design how people experience the products and the company. One day, I was in a high-stakes internal meeting. I had done the research, put together a thoughtful concept, designed a gorgeous pitch deck, and I presented it. But as the meeting went on, no one really met my eyes. My ideas floated around for a few moments and then landed as someone else's breakthrough. I couldn't believe it. I walked out thinking, how could I be this prepared, care so much, and still not be taken seriously? My job then was to design how people should feel when they walked into a showroom, engaged with a product, or attended an event. But I had never thought to design how it felt to be in a room with me. I was measuring my value only by what I produced, the research, the idea, the pitch, and completely overlooking the experience of me in those rooms. That's when I realized there is an experience of you, whether you're intentional about it or not. So, I started to treat myself the way I would treat a brand. I became more intentional about how I entered a room, how I spoke, and how I followed up. And I started making small changes, like arriving even a little bit earlier, building relationships outside of meetings, and always following up with what was discussed and why it matters. Still me, very much my work, but a completely different experience of me. This didn't just change my outlook. It changed how I saw the entire industry. I realized what I was doing instinctively, thinking deeply about how people feel with brands, wasn't necessarily how most agencies worked. They were doing everything from copy to content and promotion to publicity, but very few were truly specialized in experiential marketing. Very few were obsessed with the details of how a moment feels and how collaboration and community can ultimately turn their guests into loyal advocates. So after years of doing this work successfully inside other people's companies, I decided to build the kind of agency I wished I could have hired. A boutique agency that focuses only on luxury experiential marketing and brand partnerships. One of our early clients was, of course, a luxury brand. They had beautiful campaigns, a well-curated feed, and strong metrics. But when we looked closer, we found that guests were often just attending their events, taking a photo, posting a story, and that was it. Rinse and repeat. People loved the brand, but they didn't feel truly connected to it. So instead of asking, how do we generate more sales or more clicks, we decided to ask, how do we want these guests to feel? Using an experience-centric approach, we went back to the human details, how they are welcomed, hosted, followed up with, so that they aren't only impressed, but actually feel like they are part of a community. We didn't change the product. We just changed the experience wrapped around it. This isn't only a marketing strategy. This can be your personal and professional advantage. You see, we've always been accustomed to measuring ourselves by output, but very few of us learn to design how we are experienced, to see our presence as a part of what we do. And when we ignore that, we end up overproducing and still feeling overlooked. For women in business and women building brands, this is where our real leverage is. Because as the world becomes more digital, the value of human experience rises. Reading a room, creating emotional resonance, building community. These are the parts of our work that must be felt. And that is something technology cannot replicate or replace. When we bring experiential thinking into our homes, our brands, and our companies, when we think about the 5 senses and intentional touch points, we can create the experience of you. Something not easily replicated and not easily forgotten. Having said that, I'd like you to take a moment to audit the experience you create for others. What do people hear, see, or feel in the first 5 minutes with you, your brand, or your company? What is one touch point you can add that shifts the way they remember you? Maybe it's as simple as a warm follow-up message. Maybe it's taking an extra minute to really listen before you respond. Or maybe it's adding a small sensory detail in your home that makes others feel more at ease. When you change the experience, you change the outcome. You don't have to redesign your life overnight, but you can redesign just one experience this week. Because it is ultimately your presence, your intention, and the experience of you that makes you unforgettable. Thank you.